Why isn't there a clear acceptance that rebirth exists? Recently, there was a 4-year-old girl in Rajsamand, Rajasthan, who clearly spoke facts about her past life. India is full of such unambiguous cases of rebirth. Then what else does science need to accept the fact that rebirth exists when there are so many evidences in front of us? So let's understand what is evidence. In court, if somebody says, I saw this, then that is admissible evidence as a witness. So that is legally admissible evidence. That doesn't mean it's scientific evidence. Scientific evidence has to be unambiguous and incontrovertible. So let's understand what rebirth is. Rebirth is tied to the concept of karma. In the Abrahamic worldview, you have one life. When you die, your soul goes into some place, and then there is some guy who will either allow you to go to heaven or dump you into hell. So that is the Abrahamic concept in a very brief nutshell. In the dharmic worldview, the soul, the atma, is immortal, and when a person dies, they accumulate all the uh, fruits of their actions, good actions, bad actions, which is called karma. And karma is something, it's a conserved quantity. It's like there's a law of conservation of karma. The fruits of your actions, they are conserved bit over lifetime. So your soul is immortal. After you die, your soul goes to eventually another body. You are reborn, and the karma which you had accumulated in your past lifetime, it continues into the new lifetime. So that is the concept of karma, and there is the concept of rebirth. So to clearly establish the linkage between person A who died and person B who was born and claims to be a reincarnation of person A, one would need to establish one to one correspondence of the soul. The soul that was in person A who died is the same soul that has now migrated to person B. That would be the unambiguous proof of the existence of rebirth. Now, can we observe the soul? Can we measure the soul? Unfortunately, we cannot. And therefore, it is not scientific evidence. That is how science works. A million people can make claims that I have seen a ghost, or I have been reborn, or I have had a conversation with God. Those are non provable scientifically because you cannot replicate that phenomenon in a measurable way. You cannot photograph it, you cannot videograph it, you cannot measure it. That is simply how science works. You cannot mix religion, spirituality, and science. These are different domains, or philosophy and science. Science has certain criteria which cannot be mixed up with the criteria that philosophy has, or spirituality has, or religion has. Right? So, because of that, I mean, I agree. I agree with what Dungar Singh Chauhan is saying. There are so many cases that seem extraordinarily convincing. I mean, how can a 4-year-old kid remember things? A 4-year-old kid who has never been to a certain place say exactly what is there about the life of a certain person. It's incredible. So it is incredible. Like, it's very convincing, isn't it? And yet you cannot prove it scientifically. So when it comes to spirituality, when it comes to religion, or when it comes to philosophy, it's about belief. You don't need proof if you believe it. If you have the belief, why do you need proof? So we cannot bring this into the realm of science. We have to also understand that there are things that science has limitations. Science is unfortunately very imperfect. It's because of the limitations of our intellect. We humans are actually very unintelligent. Our intelligence has very, very, very hard limits. So there are so many things that we don't understand. So many things that science doesn't explain, cannot explain as of today. There are so many things that science is unable to explain today. 95% of the universe is dark. Science has no idea what it is. We are able to understand only a fraction of 5 or 4% of the universe. That too, very, very imperfectly. So there is a whole lot that science cannot explain. Maybe in the future, when humans become more intelligent, we may be able to bring certain other things into the realm of science. But as of today, rebirth, karma, all of these things cannot be proven or disproven scientifically, and therefore they cannot come into the realm of science. But that doesn't prevent anybody from believing them. Some cases are incredibly convincing, aren't they? I agree. But yet you cannot say, but so let's not try to prove it with science. If you believe it, believe it. That's all that matters. What to you, what you believe matters. Whether it is scientific or unscientific is not important. What matters is what you believe. So it's up to you, it's up to every individual to decide, to choose what you believe or don't not believe, and that's all that matters eventually.